top 10. I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
I used to be a big weightlifter, and I use what I used to warm up with now is what I lift now, because I'm about 50% weaker than I was back in my heyday 20 some years ago. But we have a gym here. We actually have two gyms.
Sure enough.
The kids today find reasons, or they find things to do to really procrastinate, to not take action. But you got to love, you got to have a passion for what you do. If you don't, it gets tired. Alistair Cook, the great presenter, BBC presenter, told me about, 30, 35 years ago. Being a professional, being a high-performance professional, is being able to do your very best when you don't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When you don't. Okay? And I've had days, not every day, do I want to speak when I'm at the universities, Oxford, University of Edinburgh, whatever. But they don't know it. Mm-hmm. As far as they're concerned, I look like, I was born for that night.
Yeah.
But I was taught high-performance people don't leave anything on the stage.
Yeah.
In athletic endeavors, I never left anything on the field. In public speaking, I don't leave anything on the stage. I'm fully spent at the end of each day.
What was that made you so success-oriented? Was there anything you could point to, an experience, or just you were always kind of like that? But you're always channeling.
No. I've been in jail 5 times.
Okay.
Got to university 3 times.
Okay.
Ultimately came back and graduated, only to displease my mother, because I was going to be allegedly the first college graduate in our family, which doesn't mean shit. But anyway, I am
especially nowadays.
Oh yeah, especially now. Okay,
it's a negative.
Yeah, and at the height of the Vietnam War, I volunteered for the draft, 1966, and you've seen the movie Officer and a Gentleman.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Well, the United States Congress, when you're an officer in the American military, you get a thing from Congress that says Officer and Gentleman. I'd been called a lot of things, but never a gentleman. And it turned my life around, and because I had responsibility for other people, and it changed my life. My method for success was I spent 125% of everything I ever earned when I got out of university. For every dollar I earned, I spent $1.25. Why? Because I never wanted any savings. I never wanted any backup. I always wanted to be under the gun. I didn't understand it, what I was doing at the time, just as I modeled and mimicked and mirrored very successful people. I didn't understand that was the basis of my QLA. I mean, success leaves clues. And so I went and I, in some cases, in a very impolite manner, forced myself on some very successful people, 40 years ago. But they thought it was a blessing. They said, well, God, we've been looking for a kid like you. You remind me of me. When I was 25, 30 years old. As opposed to being afraid to put yourself forward. I mean, we've had people that got return emails from Bill Gates. Now, I would have thought that's pissing in the wind, trying to get Bill. Steve Jobs said before he died, he says, not anybody I ever tried, and this is when he was a kid, not anybody I ever tried to get a hold of to help me ever turned me down. And this is before people knew Steve as Steve Jobs. But the people are afraid. They lack the grit, the emotional fortitude, because they've seen their parents live lives of desperation.
What are the tough times in the QLA process with the mentees you've had in the past 25 years? What are the common mistakes?
Common mistakes is they skip the steps. We list the 7 steps on the site. They go from step 1 to you've got an uncle who's a lawyer, you've got a cousin who's a banker, and you've got a brother-in-law who's an accountant. Almost everybody in this room has somebody they know that's either a banker, an accountant, and or a lawyer, right? And you go to them. This system is based on doing business with people you don't know. Why don't you want to know them? Because familiarity breeds contempt. Familiarity breeds contempt. Because now you're happy slappy, you're going out to lunch, you're going out to dinner, your kids are taking tennis lessons together, and now it's hard for you to end the business relationship when it doesn't make sense for you anymore. These are new, fresh faces that you found on LinkedIn. Lou Gessner that turned around IBM 25, 30 years ago, he says, the last thing we need is a strategy. All I know and all I teach is closing. I'm a hammer closer.
So persuasion, close the.
Oh yeah, and it's beyond persuasion. It's I beat them to a pulp. I beat them to a fucking pulp.
Explain it real quick.
If they say no 50 times, the 51st time they're going to say yes. I told you earlier on, I've seen the sun come down and go up sitting at the same coffee table or kitchen table.
Negotiating.
Reclosing.
Not taking no for a answer.
No. No for an answer. Tell the kids, you want to save the world? I'm not a save the world guy. I don't give a f- the world ends, I don't give a shit goes down the toilet. But if you want to save the world, go create a product or a service that changes 1 billion lives, like Zuckerberg and Facebook, okay? And then take that money that you make off that product or service and then go change the rainforest or whatever. But just carrying placards around embassies doesn't change anything. The kids that want to save the world, we teach, we coach, we mentor that they have to create something that's worth something to 1 billion people. And by definition, you'll get super wealthy and you'll be able to make your dent in changing the world. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and that ilk, they made tons of money before they started changing the world. Only in recent years have they tried to change the world and stop typhoid, stop malaria, help the rainforest reduce its decreasing the rainforest. But they've been super wealthy a long time. You have one time to make a first impression, whether it's verbal or in appearance. Your subconscious, or as the psychiatrists call it, sub rosa, conscious mind remembers the first words that you said and my first impression of how you were dressed. Yours was when you first heard me on another podcast of some sort, probably, and my look, how I dress. And nobody in the higher echelons of finance. Now, if you want to, there's nothing wrong with being a joiner. There's nothing wrong with being a brickie. There's nothing wrong with being God bless you. Allah be with you. But if you want to attain the heights in the world that I come from, and some of you will be so turned off, you'll never want that. That's fine. Good. At least you learned young. But there's only one time to make a first impression. They talk about the first time the prime minister met Trump. Remember the big hoopla and the bullshit that was going on? And the first words that come out of the mouth after their private time together? And when he held her hand when they were walking out of the steps of the White House? Why, if first impressions aren't so important, like I believe, why is everybody focused on them? Because they are important. They are important. The world has become sophisticated. Political correctness reigns. And I'm here to tell you, in my humble opinion, and there's nothing humble about me, that political correctness is a manifestation of lack of self-esteem. Because you care about what people say about you. You care about what people think about you. And I don't. And either does Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Henry Ford the and I can go down the list. People don't do what you tell them to do. They do what they see you do. If you're a leader that comes in at 6:30 in the morning, even though the workday doesn't start till 8:30, the employees will probably come in at 7:30. If they see you working until 8 o'clock at night, even though the workday is over at 4:30 or 5, they may not stay till 8 o'clock at night, but they'll probably work till 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. So they see, it's the same with raising kids. Kids don't do what you tell them to do. They do what they see their parents do. That's why so many kids are snowflakes, because their parents were snowflakes. So leadership starts with you. and the examples you set. But you have to lead by example. You have to work.
Yeah.
I mean, I know guys that are wealthy that come to work at 11, go to lunch, go to the gym, and then go home. Mm-hmm. And they want to know why they're not as productive as they should be. LinkedIn is the easiest, the fastest, and there's a premier LinkedIn. I think it costs €100 a month. Use the premier LinkedIn, where you're not limited to how many people you can contact. And it's
That's the dream team.
For the dream team, for your accountants and for your lawyers, for everybody. All your professional associations can be derived on LinkedIn. It's a great tool. I wish that I had invested in it when it came out 15 years ago. It's just a terrific tool, because by definition, everybody that is on there is looking to do some sort of business. And a lot of times they fudge and they say they're interested in charitable associations. They're interested in pro bono, meaning for free. That's not necessarily true. They're there to try to make money.